So lockdown number 5.
Woo.
Fuck.
Yeah. Just been extended as of this morning. Yeah.
Yeah. No end in date.
Yeah. 5 days to question mark?
I'm so not excited about this.
Do you know what I'm not excited about? The fact that I thought it was fucking lockdown number 6. So on Instagram stories, I had the gif of like Laganja Estranja death dropping saying, come on, season 6, let's get sickening. And then I put like lockdown 6 on my story.
And then how many people called you out and were like,
nobody has. They're just like, oh, Lacey, you're a dead shit. But that's okay. We still love you. I get that vibe from my followers on Instagram.
No, I saw that and I thought it was funny.
That is funny. I did not see that. That's lovely. My Instagram is quite thirsty.
It's very thirsty.
As Instagram should be. I can't figure mine out at the moment. Mine has its toners all over the place.
It's up, it's down.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's depression and somebody come over.
You up? I'm sad. You up?
Pretty much.
Well, listeners, since it is lockdown 5 here in sweet old Melbourne and the rest of the world is still pretty much on fire, take some time to sit down with your Wyrd Sisters where we tell you a cursed tale, everything blessed and bizarre, all the things you're happier not knowing about. My name is Tay. And I've lost my fucking notes. Hang on. My name is Tay, and I am addicted to escapism nostalgia because that's all that's getting me through this lockdown.
Woo! That hits me so hard. I am the most stressed salaryman in all of Japan.
Oh, okay. And what's your name?
Lacey. Lacey-san. No, that's Mr. Lacey.
Yeah,
Lacey-chan.
Well, that would be someone who's very familiar with you.
San is still like a level of like authority,
I mean,
superiority?
it's Fuji.
Status.
It's Fuji-san.
Yeah, but Fuji's masculine, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Because it's a mountain and it looks like a wiener.
He doesn't look like a wiener. He looks more like a 80s titty. Yeah,
Point.
He's got the Madonna bra going on. I am Laura, and I am a sweet little taxidermy rat with a spray paint can.
Yay!
Woo woo! Yeah. I can't do this. Someone help me.
COVID has scrambled our brains. No vaccine needed for us. We don't need the extra chemicals to screw our brains with.
Yes, that is the excuse we're going to go with. I like it.
Not that we smoke chemicals or anything.
Never.
No. Very wholesome on this show.
Edge till death. Heists. That's the theme.
Hey.
So the topic of heists was recommended by a listener.
Ooh.
Thank you, listener.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it's quite interesting. Like, would you steal shit?
Me?
If you got lots of stuff? Everyone.
I have been maybe in trouble with the law for this before. Potentially. One of my arrests has involved theft. Let's just leave it at that.
Holy shit.
Sorry, Mum. She doesn't listen to this anyway. It's fine.
No, because I would just feel too bad. I can't even be mean to NPCs in video games. I couldn't steal anything.
You're so wholesome.
I feel bad about if a sim gets angry at my sim because I tried to compliment and flirt with them too many times or something. I'm like, oh no.
I'm sorry for harassing you.
Yeah. I would not do it. That's my answer.
That's fair enough. I am very anti-establishment, unfortunately. The older I get, the more I'm like, steal everything. Fuck these.
Oh yeah, if you're stealing if you need to eat and you like stealing, fucking do it, mate. But keep those independent busices and those family-owned businesses out of those little sticky fingers. But mate, I'm not looking. I do not see it.
Why do you ask? Would you steal? Would you theft, loot, steal?
Yeah, if I knew I could get away with it.
Yeah. Indiscriminately.
No.
Oh, good. Proud of you.
Yeah. Good. Good. I just like that thrill, you know. No.
Yeah. No. It's a feeling.
Okay. I came across this one when I was on one of those nights on the internet where you start with like, you know, a makeup tutorial and then end up at 4 a.m. with like videos of people peeling eggs really up close.
Yes.
I've come across this within that chain of events. Cheap paper, letters cut from movie magazines, and the threat of death. Even though he knew what to expect, the bank manager's hands still shook as he opened the letter. The latest missive in a chain of random ransom demands. Good writing, Lathy. that had been arriving over the past year. At first, they were posted to his work, the Kokubunji branch of the Nihon Shintaku Ginko Bank in Tokyo. But now the letters arrived at his personal address. Give me 3 million yen, or I will blow up your house with dynamite with you inside.
Oh my god. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Escalated.
Yep. Like always, he reports the letters to the police. The police respond by doing regular drive-bys of his house and staking out the street he's in. But because this is Japan, despite death threats and severe mental turmoil, the bank manager continued to go to his work as normal. He did, however, share his fears with his employees, so the whole branch was on high alert for anything suspicious. 4 days after receiving the last letter, on the morning of December 10, 1968, the bank's employees packed up the company car with metal boxes filled with cash. The 4 employees were going to deliver the year-end bonus for Toshiba's 523 Futsu plant employees. So, Sidebar Nation, Lacey History Corner / Japanese Custom Corner.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Take us to school.
Companies in Japan give their employees bonuses twice a year, one in the summer and another at the year's end in winter. This tradition began in the Edo era, 1603 to 1867, where business owners would give the bonuses so that employees can go out and enjoy cultural events like festivals or stuff like that to enjoy time with their families. And that was part of the draw to work there. And this tradition still continues today. Very nice. Delivering the money was going to be a little tougher this year, obviously because their bank manager had been threatened with a bomb. The employees delivering the cash were highly anxious. They were just 200 meters from the Toshiba plant when a police motorcyclist screeched to a halt in front of their vehicle. The policeman anxiously told them that their bank manager's house had just been bombed and they were still pulling people out of the wreckage.
Ooh.
He also explained that the police check underneath their vehicle because another threat that had said that dynamite had been put in their clearly marked company cars.
Ooh.
Oh, it's not the police.
4 bank employees got out of the car while the police officer crawled underneath the car to try and find out if there was a bomb. A few minutes later, employees noticed smoke and flames emerging from under the car. The policeman yelled that the car was going to explode. The employees all ran behind a thick wall to shelter themselves from the explosion, while the police officer scrambled to get out from underneath the car. Behind the wall, they covered their eyes and ears, bracing themselves for a big explosion. Nothing happened. Finally, they decided to take a peek and see if the police officer managed to defuse the bomb. But when they did, they found that the car and the police officer were gone.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. In a state of bewilderment, the employees called their branch where they found out that there had been no explosion and their bank manager was fine.
Bamboozled.
Clever.
They eventually realized they had been fooled by a young man disguised as a police officer, and they were the victims of a very clever heist that had been planned for months and executed very smoothly.
Good job, son.
Yes. Interestingly, the serial numbers of all the cash were undocumented. And the amount that was stolen was exactly 300 million yen. The number the ransom letter asked for.
Huh.
So while under the car, the man had ignited a flare to create the smoke and flames that the employees saw. And when they took shelter, he just drove the car away and then abandoned it, moved the cash to another stolen car he had waiting for him, abandoned that one after fleeing the prefecture, and then the robber went to another vehicle, which was another stolen car.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. So throughout the places the robber left the cars themselves, the motorcycle, there was over 120 pieces of evidence that were left at the scene.
Oh. Well, I was literally just like, this dude's really good at this. And I was like, oh, wait, there's more evidence.
Oh, yeah. So all of the evidence had been left behind to confuse the investigation.
Oh, he is good at this. Man, I don't even put this much effort into literally anything. Like,
I'm exhausted just imagining it.
Right? This is too much. Like, I had to do a couple of assignments in a group at the end of last semester, and I was just like, all of y'all are getting very little attention because I just can't. I can't organize myself like this. Can you imagine how much effort this would have taken them and the stakes?
Yeah. So this investigation was the largest in Japanese history at the time. So 170,000 police officers took to the field. More than 100,000 people were on the suspect list. The cost of the investigation was over $12 million US.
Oh my God.
And involved hundreds of detectives who questioned something like over 100,000 people. So I do have some suspects.
Ooh.
One was a 19-year-old man. He was the son of a police officer and was thought to be a suspect because he had knowledge of police procedure and he didn't have an alibi. 5 days after the heist, he was found dead after taking potassium cyanide pills. He was later found not guilty according to official police records.
What?
Yep, and his dad was the one who actually brought the pills.
What? Wait, what? Say that again.
Okay. 5 days after the heist, he is found dead by suicide, taking potassium cyanide.
That his dad bought him.
He was later found not guilty according to official police records.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucked.
So we don't know whether he was forced to do that or whether he took them himself.
I mean, it sounds pretty forcey, but what do I know? I know nothing.
Wasn't there.
No.
Yep.
We can only perhaps and maybe and speculate.
I know.
We can only guess.
A year later, on December 12, 1969, nice, a 26-year-old man was arrested for the heist because he looked like the composite sketch of the robber.
Oh.
But the man had an alibi. When the robbery happened, he was taking a government exam. He just looked exactly like the picture.
Oh shit.
Gosh.
They also arrested him with no fucking evidence apart from the fact that he looked like this guy.
That's so fucked. Hey,
so they were never going to make it stick, really. 7 years later, in 1975, a man had large sums of money from an unknown source and couldn't provide satisfactory explanation. But the police couldn't prove that the money was from the robbery.
Right.
Who knows? And then in December 1975, so that last one in the 75, the 7-year criminal statute of limitations passed without an arrest. So that last one was sort of like a Hail Mary one, see if it sticks.
Just please. Yeah. Okay.
So you won't be arrested for it. And then since 1988, or 20 years after the incident, the robber has also been released from civil liability, so he could confess without fear of the law.
Oh, really?
But still no one admits it.
Holy shit. That's a thing?
Maybe they're still involved in other illegal activities.
Mate, still heisting.
Yeah.
Still lifting.
Statute of limitations, I'd love to learn more about it. I need to spend some time doing that because I don't understand.
So Australia has statute of limitations. for civil suits. Like, you don't want somebody being like, 8 years ago somebody hit my car.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? We don't
that
want
makes
that.
sense.
So that
No.
needs, so they, I think it's like traffic accidents and things like that. It's like 6 months from the incident, because you can't, like, there's no evidence, there's no, you know, it's harder to investigate. Things that some places have rape as a statute of limitations.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah. Even
Because,
I believe it's popped up with murder before as well, but I can't remember.
yeah, in the States,
Yeah.
they have that for murder in some places.
Right.
We don't have statute of limitations for murder or rape, but we did have one. We did have a statute of limitations for child rape.
Oh,
huh.
So
okay, Australia.
that has since been reversed.
Good, clever,
That's
proud
good.
of them.
Because, and that's the thing. That's why, like, a lot of the people who were molested by, like, the priests and the brothers and things like that, they couldn't get convictions.
Fuck, that's fucked up.
That's so fucked. It's all interwoven and
It's all interwoven. Yeah, but I find the Japanese justice system like incredibly fascinating, including like public opinion and things like that. Really, it really matters a lot with that kind of thing. Cool. And just in closing, this is considered to be, by like law enforcement over like around the board, a good heist because the money was taken and there was no loss of life.
Yeah.
okay.
That isn't strictly true. 2 detectives who worked on the case died of exhaustion.
and the dude that was falsely accused
Yeah, he committed
did
suicide.
this
But we don't-
espionage thing.
But we
Yeah.
don't know. Woo.
Ooh.
Anyway,
Well, he died.
decades later, the crime still captivates Japan. It spawned a lot of like books, movies, TV dramas, and there's like a manga series about it. Of course,
Of
there is.
course, naturally.
Yeah, it's great, and also because it was Japan in 1968, all of the pictures from like the scene of the crime and everything like that are just like fantastic black and white 1960s Japan. It is really, really cool.
Just beautiful.
Yeah, it was really, really nice.
I love that. That's very awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah, so that was my heist.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. What a way to start it off. One that was just like, oh yeah, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Forever.
A successful one.
It's gone, and they can't do anything about it. Did you guys watch the Heists show on Netflix?
No,
Mm-mm.
I haven't watched anything since I went to uni.
Okay.
Is it good?
It has the thing about like you never think about like what happens to them. It's amazing. You never think about what happens to them after the heist. Like you assume they go and they have like a great life, but in like they don't. Like one of the ladies ended up like penniless in Amsterdam, and she was forced to do escorting because she didn't have an identity. So she couldn't get work, and like she had no money.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really, really interesting to see. And because it's the American law system, it's very, very strange. I don't know. But yeah, I recommend that one. The heists that are in that like show are not the heists we are doing today either. So if you're feeling thirsty after this episode, check out Heists on Netflix.
More content.
More content.
Delightful,
Not
delicious.
sponsored.
Somebody please sponsor us.
Give us some money.
I
Because
mean,
I'm too scared to steal it. Thank you.
I'll do it for you, baby. Don't worry.
Thank you, Mommy.
I got nothing
Thank you,
to
Mama.
lose.
All right. Well, let me tell you about some heists that were less successful and probably less severe and a little more silly.
Oh, you're doing a multi-parter, are
yeah.
you?
Yeah.
I like it.
So, much like last episode, nostalgia and escapism fueled my segment this week. But don't worry, it's not as traumatizing as Travis. I am sorry.
I like that you
I'm not
have to
actually sorry.
apologize for once. It's nice.
I'm not sorry. I take it back.
Sorry.
It's a good story. It's interesting, and if I had to read it
You have
with a
to hear it.
hyperfixation when I was 15, you all had to listen to it too. So as a kid and as an adult, anything collectible gets me going. Like, my magpie brain is very interested in limited edition, exclusive, alternate colorways, all of it. And as a kid, I was super into Beanie Kids, as then also known Beanie Babies. Little teddies, little stuffed animals with plastic beads that made them be able to sit up and like
my collection of Beanie Kids is pretty fucking amazing.
Really?
Mine was pretty solid too. Yeah, I don't have them anymore.
I had one that I got from a secondhand shop. It was the seahorse, the tropical colored seahorse. Very cute. Pastel.
That's so cute. What a satisfying sound they made when you threw them from the top of a bunk bed as well.
Oh, yes. Specifically
so
that
good.
height.
The best.
Especially if it was at a sibling's head.
Yes.
And you get them and then you hear the smack.
Yep. And then you just hear, I'm telling Mom!
No, I'm sorry, don't tell Mom, no.
It's fine, I didn't even touch you.
You're fine. I say this like I had that experience. I grew up in a one-child household. But I did watch my friends do that to their siblings very often, so I had a bystander approach. Anyway, Beanie Kids, Beanie Babies, which I now will be calling them babies. And it's going to sound really funny when I say some of the facts, because it's going to sound like I'm talking about real babies. But I'm not. I'm talking about these little... wherever your imagination takes you, mate. I'm not going to stop that.
Thank you.
You follow that thread. But these toys first launched in 93, same, and created by TY Inc. So these babies took the world by storm. Also me.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. But I'm sure you're wondering, Tay, what does this have to do with heists? Well, in the 90s and the early 2000s, Beanie Babies became a precious commodity. People were like fighting in the stores for these, thanks to Ty's deliberate underproduction of their product. Looking at you, Nintendo. Frequent retiring and designs led to people flipping babies on eBay for like 10 times the recommended retail price. Like, it was fucked. Like, at the height of the hysteria, Beanie Babies made up 10% of all items sold on eBay.
I love it. That's amazing.
10%.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So there's some money there. And like, eBay was not what it was today. Back then, it was not anywhere near as like, because you can buy shit from like big brands and like stores on eBay now. But like back then, eBay was just like independent sellers.
Yep.
Selling their junk to get a buck.
Just some dudes.
Yep. In 1998, police were investigating a stolen goods operation in Ohio and discovered several hundred stolen Beanie Babies valued at around $20,000 US dollars. Yeah. So after the raid, police found hundreds of babies discarded and dirty around the location. And suspects Dave Golden and Joey Smith were jailed, each on a single count of receiving stolen property. The Beanie Babies were stolen from a vehicle at a convention. There were heaps of conventions for Beanie Babies back in there, like the early 2000s and the 90s, like big buy, swap, and sell conventions, traders. Like, it was insane. Like, the hysteria and the like collectability of these was like off the charts. I remember I had a little like almanac book as a kid that was like the Collector's Guide 1998. And I bought it for like $2 at a used bookstore when I was like 10 years old. And it was just so much fun looking back at all of the like old stuff I couldn't get. I used to get really bummed out, like, I can't get it anymore. And I still have this problem nowadays, and I get very FOMO when I see things I can't get anymore.
If you would like to experience more of that, I have something for you, more content for all of the similarly affected nostalgic and 90s babies. Have you guys heard of the History of the 90s podcast by Curious Cast?
Yes, I introduced you guys to that.
Yeah.
Oh, you did, of course you did. They have a great
the
Beanie Babies
episode is so good.
The Beanie Baby episode on that is so good. Yeah, it's really enjoyable because it's so twisted and weird, like what happened with the creator of them. Bizarre.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mate.
I love it. I was like, I know someone showed me this podcast, but I did not know who. I should have known who it was, realistically.
Mm-hmm. Mate, after y'all finish this episode, bump on over to them.
It's really good. They have lots of episodes. Yes. They're really entertaining. Katie Kanzora, who presents it, is very entertaining. She's sweet.
Yep, love her one. Love her one on The Lion King, and I was like, I know everything there is about The Lion King. There's nothing that she could tell me.
She told us so much about The Lion King that I had no
so much about
idea.
The Lion King. Yes.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's very good. I enjoy that show very much.
Yes.
Hell yeah. All right,
Anyway,
so we've had
crack on.
our first like considerable amount of babies stolen. In a separate incident, a 35-year-old Florida woman named Melissa Stiver was charged with fraud after allegedly making over 10 grand in fake eBay listings for rare beanie babies. 10 grand.
Bitch.
Yeah, like she just listed them and then sent them and like sold the thing and never sent the item.
Oh, I've had that happen to me and it makes me so mad.
So have I.
So mad.
Like, it's so easy now to just put like a chargeback through PayPal or like open a dispute on eBay, but back then
There was
like,
no
I'm
way.
sure this was no, it's fucked.
Your money was gone.
Bye.
You had to just rely on the way strangers did things and hope that they wouldn't fuck you
the
over.
Goodwill, right? Now, in the 90s, there was a limit on how many beanie babies were allowed across the Canadian border. Many people were smuggling them to the US, and the Blaine Crossing US Customs Office was like in the middle of this, at the peak of this area. They were just like, no, you can only bring one. Like if a child had like two, they were like, no, we have to take one.
What?
Yeah.
No.
There was like there was a law, like
kids in the car and each had a beanie baby. What was it?
Essentially. So a quote from one officer was, people are smuggling beanie babies in similar places where they hide drugs, such as hidden compartments and spare tire holders. Yeah.
I love it. That's amazing.
So we've got people smuggling them across the border. We've got fake eBay listings. We've got an organized crime operation. And then we've got some more crimes. So Happy the Hippo beanie baby, at the time worth $900 USD, was stolen from a beanie baby convention in Andover, New Hampshire. And in the nearby town of Nashua, hundreds more had been stolen and bartered for heroin.
Shit.
I mean, which would you prefer, honestly? The sweet drop of heroin in your veins or a beanie baby?
Oh, the fucking beanie babies, dog. Like, I am addicted to shit that's limited edition. Like, I'm better than I was, but in my height, I've pumped so much stupid money to so many stupid things. Thank you, Funko.
I'm really glad I never got on that train. It amazes me that it's still a thing. I have a friend on my Facebook who collects hundreds, and I don't know how she does it. There's so many. She has so fucking many, and I'm just like, why do you still want more?
Yeah.
Where is the appeal?
I definitely noped out of that one early enough.
Mm-hmm.
But just a side note, my most expensive Funko Pop was a pea shooter from Plants vs. Zombies, and I sold that bad boy for $300.
What? How much did you buy it for?
I was a gift, and that was back when they cost $15.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And I sold it probably between 3 and 4 years ago, and I made $300.
Oh, when we started at uni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's when I was like, I need the money, dog. So that was fun. But yeah, like the Beanie Baby bubble is what this, like, when they were worth a lot of money is what it was called. Like, it was, and it's really fascinating because like companies still do this. They create like fake like hype, and they underproduce things to make the secondhand market like
go nuts for it.
Yeah. And like this couple that like was using it to like purchase heroin were like obviously in a vulnerable situation, and it's just like this whole like, it's way crazy how you can go from like the selling of a small bear to the buying and selling of illicit drugs. It's really fucked. And like the detective that was quoted by the Washington Post for the Nashuan incident was said to have been investigating 3 separate Beanie Baby heists in 1998, totaling more than 15,000 USD in stolen goods.
Oh my lord, that is incredible.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Absolutely.
I love the weird shit that people get strangely into.
It's so much fun to read about. I had so much fun. I spent the whole day just like deep diving, and I was so far in deep in the internet, and I was like, this is so much fun.
My favorite one of this at the moment that keeps popping up every couple of like months is the Coles and Woolworths little mini shops and the Ushies and all that bullshit, because they are actually trash. They are
Trash.
Nothing. No one wants them. Not even kids want them for more than like 5 minutes. But
It's the mums.
especially because it coincides perfectly with Coles and Woolworths moving to these recycled bags that they charge people for, which they're basically putting the onus on the consumer, saying like it's your fault for not reusing your bags and bringing in your recycled bags. But then they pump out hundreds of thousands of pounds of tiny, tiny little plastic things and then go like, yeah, collect them, buy more of our shit, spend more money with us. It's fucked. And then they end up in the ocean. Like they get found on Balinese beaches and shit like that because they're just in landfill within a week.
It's crazy. And it's funny, like there was like at one point, there was like a week where one of them was worth like $500. And then the next week, Coles and Woolworths were like, we have recycling bins for the ushies that you've been buying. Bring them back and we'll just dispose of them for you. Like it's
right.
It's crazy.
You could
it's so
look
crazy.
on Facebook Marketplace for a while and there were people advertising to buy and also selling the little Lion King ushies in particular at stupid sums of money. Just crazy amounts. I like the plants, little seedling initiative better. I haven't yet heard any negative things about that, but fucking hell.
Can't keep them alive.
Oh, I try. I make an attempt. I don't guarantee that it comes out well.
I actually have a little golden Zazu ushi on the shelf of my kitchen because Mum was like trying to get them for my cousin and then I opened one. I'm like, I want to keep this one because it's a little golden bird. And I just
fucking Zazu.
Yeah, and I just put it in the top of the kitchen shelf and it's still there and it just like surveys over all the land and touches.
Well, that was his job. That was his job to look to see.
Anyway, the Beanie Baby heists do not stop here. So in October of 1999, Jeffrey White, age 29, shot 63-year-old security guard Harry Simmons at a lumberyard in West Virginia, a town notable for its Beanie Baby hysteria. Like, it was particularly bad here.
What the fuck?
So White confessed to the crime, blaming Simmons for getting him fired from his security job, also at the lumberyard. It later surfaced that the two men had a disagreement over $150 cash and even more money in Beanie Babies that Simmons had lent White, supposedly to start a trading business. Some dude got shot over Beanie Babies!
What the actual fuck, dude?
So funny.
Absolutely fucked.
Horrendous. Oh, that poor man.
Yeah. Poor dude. I feel for Harry Simmons. Like, that's fucked.
Right.
And also, like, y'all should be having guns.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, just.
Yeah. Yeah. So as recently as last year, the year of our Lord Satan 2020, there have been Beanie Baby heists.
What? Still?
Yeah. Yeah.
Still? Why?
Yeah. So thank you. Shout out to Tim, who when I was sitting there trying to figure out what to do, and he was like, I'm going to do a quick Google search. And he's like, here's some weird ones. And he was like, slid the Beanie Baby one to me. This article in particular and was like, go nuts, kid. And I was like,
he knows
this is
you
why,
so well.
This is why, this is why I've chosen you. So a group of 4 individuals broke into a storage locker in the US and stole 25 plastic tubs containing 600 Beanie Babies. Currently, those Beanie Babies have worth between $7 to $10 USD each. So still not nothing. There's still like around $5,000 to $6,000 worth of Beanie Babies there. Am I doing my math correctly? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mate, I go to uni. So 2 men and 2 women between the ages of 33 and 19 were caught on security cameras cutting the master lock and loading the stolen babies into a U-Haul truck, also stolen. The group went to a pawn shop the same day and allegedly using a stolen license attempted to trade several items for cash, including a chainsaw that was inside the stolen truck. The eldest of the group, Gary Triplett, was interviewed by police after the truck was found behind his house. Smart. He admitted to the Beanie Baby heist and the stolen U-Haul, and the group was arrested and each was set with a $10,000 cash bond.
Ooh.
Triplett revealed the location of the stolen babies during questioning.
The stolen babies.
Yeah, the stolen babies. He admitted to the baby heist.
The baby heist.
Yeah. So, but like, why are these little dudes so coveted? So I did a little sleuthing. And by that, I mean, I clicked the first result on Google search. Turns out there's still a market for beanie kids / babies.
Still. To this day, 2021.
To this day. This article I found was published in 2019, so there could be like a little fluctuation in the prices, but like, let me take you on a journey. So this list that I found has 20 items, and I'm going to read you the top 5 because these prices are cooked. And that is coming from someone who collects pieces of cardboard, aka Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, keep it in your pants, nerd.
So Claude the Crab, sweet little guy, like a brown, green, blue color. He fetches around $10,000 USD according to the collector's market. Yep.
Excuse me?
$10,000 for a little crab. So there was like 5 original Beanie Babies. There was like a crab, a bear, like an actual bear.
Yeah.
A lobster named like Pinchy or something.
What a weird creature. Like, the bear makes sense, but a crab and a lobster, of all the many animal types, you pick 2 invertebrates.
Right? Creepy crawlies. And then there was like a Happy the Hippo, and then there's another one. And then we've got Valentino the bear, which is a white teddy.
I remember that one.
With a red heart embroidered on his chest, and he's worth $19,000 USD. Oh. But not just any Valentino is $19,000. The only Valentino with the label misprint is said to rake in the big bucks. So the misprint is literally on his little tag that has his name and birthday on it. Instead of a colon separating his birth date from like DOB, it's a semicolon.
What?
And yes, and that is why he is worth $19,000.
What?
It's fucked.
I don't understand the demand.
Yeah. So misprint stuff is insane, and I don't understand the demand either, because again, just taking it on back to Magic the Gathering, there is a huge market for misprinted cards, and like cards that are like just not printed correctly in their margins, like half of it's cut off and half, like I don't, and in Pokemon as well, I don't understand.
An imperfect thing is more desirable.
Essentially.
So
isn't that beautiful?
Theoretically, then people should want the fuck out of me, but here we are.
It doesn't make sense, the logic. And then we have Brownie the bear, which is one of the OG Beanie Babies, was sold for $20,000 USD. And then a pair of babies, Lefty the donkey and Righty the elephant, which were signed by Hillary Clinton, sold for $50,000. This is an outlier. These babies are unique. Yeah. However, I thought it was really funny since both the babies are colored with stars and stripes like the American flag, so like the left and the right. Like, it's really funny. And the fact that like it's like, I'm sure her like signature is worth more, but like I just thought that was a funny thing.
It is.
That was funny.
That's funny.
So now we come to our last bear. The last bear on the list, our most expensive baby in the market as of 2019, is Princess. So Princess is a small purple teddy with a white rose embroidered on her chest, and she was released to commemorate Princess Diana.
Aww.
Which is very sweet. And she is worth $500,000 USD.
Excuse me?
500,000 USD,
what?
Mama.
What?
Yes.
That bear is worth more than I would be if I was sold on the black market. What? Holy shit! That's incredible!
Yeah. It's insane. It's just
I'm stunned.
Like I get it, but like, because I get it, but I'm just like, that's so much money.
That's so much money.
Yeah.
That's outrageous. That makes me mad the thing that it makes me mad about is it's someone out there, because obviously when you have something that is worth a certain amount, you have to find the buyer that's willing to pay that amount. You don't just have something that you can instantly turn into cash, because that buyer might not exist for 5 years, 10 years.
100%.
But the fact that someone, or multiple someones, it would seem, are out there willing to pay that kind of money for a stuffed toy that has no other value really upsets me. That hurts me.
But in conclusion, check your parents' garage next time you visit, listeners. You might have some money sitting there in between your creased Pokemon cards and hazardous sky dancers. Yes. Probably not. And that is the Beanie Baby Heist Fun Time Hour.
Hey!
Yay!
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was a lot. There was more to the Beanie Baby situation than I thought, because the only one that came into my head straight away was obviously the podcast about the 90s, but also the famous meme of the divorcing couple dividing up their Beanie Baby collection.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that was in my research. That is so fucking funny.
Hilarious.
If you haven't seen that whole segment, which you can watch it, or you can just the picture of just because they divorced at the height of this when they were worth money, and it was like dividing up assets.
Mm-hmm.
Just these tiny little toys on the courtroom floor, and they were like, "This one's for you. You know, you get Happy the Hippo, but I get Princess." I'm like, no. If you get Princess and I get everything else, it's like it's crazy.
Oh, I love it. It's fucked. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Yay. I guess that leaves me.
Yes.
And for the first episode, I think, ever, none of us have had anything super gross, super gory, super morbid to talk about. There was a couple of deaths, but very mild compared to our usual fare.
Yeah, mild
Yes.
in the death category.
Yeah. And I'm keeping that going because I also did not do anything really fucking upsetting for once.
Yay!
Yay! Woo! Don't get used to it. I have other things I
No.
want to talk about.
Enjoy the moment while it lasts, listeners.
Yes, exactly. Well, and we also know that I tend to I interpret the program that we're given creatively sometimes, just so I can talk about shit that I want to talk about.
Hence the Beanie Babies.
Exactly. But yours, there was heists involved. It was actual heists. I decided to do an anti-heist.
Ooh.
Ooh. So this is something that I sort of like grew up knowing about. My mum actually introduced me to this story and this artist. My mum is cool as fuck, and I don't toot her horn nearly enough. She was like an art student in England in the early 80s, so she has done and smoked some things.
Fuck yeah, Mum.
Fuck yeah, Mum. But when I was a teenager and I started to show like an interest in art, she was like, oh, cool. All right, well, we're not going to look at Monet. We're not going to look at, Klimt's The Kiss. We're going to look at this guy. We're going to talk about this. And she bought me this really cool book and told me about how he had gone on to perform these anti-art heists. So basically, we're going to talk about Banksy.
Hell yeah.
Yay! And Banksy's kind of like, everyone knows who he is nowadays. Like, if you don't know who he is, then that's fine. But pretty much, we'll go into it. But in the mid-2000s, like very early 2000s to mid-2000s, mysterious art began to appear in galleries around New York City. In the MoMA, in the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Brooklyn Museum, and even the Museum of Natural History. So these suspicious pieces included things like You Have Beautiful Eyes, which was a portrait of a woman in a World War II era gas mask. There was a pop art print of a Tesco soup can, very similar to our Andy Warhol style, the Campbells, and a taxidermy rat spray painting graffiti titled Banksus Militus Rattus.
Yes.
So cute. So they look amazing as well. So I have a book that shows a lot of these really cool pieces. They're just so cool. So if you go into an art gallery, and a lot of the time, obviously, like you'll go into these huge rooms, and unless you're in a more contemporary newer one, but usually your standard art gallery, big rooms, lots of paintings, usually sort of around the same artist or similar eras, something connecting them. So, and after a while, they kind of blur together, Like, some of them are really amazing, but you see so many Victorian women sat in chairs looking miserable that you're like, okay, that's a lot.
Actually, when I went and saw Degas, he was like obsessed with like sketching before he did his final piece, and there are literally like 40 sketches of redheaded prostitutes in like having baths and stuff. He was a massive pervert.
Oh yeah, lots of these artists were.
Oh yeah, so was Klimt.
Yep.
He was just wore like a smock, and like all these women were always just like lounging around his art studio, and that's all he wore was like this big moo smock, and he was like, keep being hedonist while I frantically
Well, what Banksy would do, basically, they had little placards, so they had all the standard affair that went with an art gallery piece. So the pieces went unnoticed by gallery staff for as long as 12 days in some stints. The stunt was a catalyst for Banksy's now world-renowned fame. Basically, these purses, they're not meant to be there. They were never meant to be there. Security footage and photographs showed a man in a grey overcoat, grey hat, and a thick beard installing the artworks himself. He would take them out from inside his jacket or bag and just stick them up. He just had some glue and he just smashed them against the wall and then he walked away.
Oh my god.
We now know this to be Banksy disguising himself. We still don't really know what he looks like 100% from what I know, but basically it talks a little bit about the gallery security at this time, because taking an artwork off the wall, someone will know about it. It's very likely that you will get caught. Not in every case. Sometimes you can be smart about it, but in a lot of places there's sensors, there's stuff, lots of cameras, lots of guards. Trying to put something up in there, fine. No one's going to know about it.
Go nuts.
Go nuts. One of the first ones that he did was actually in a museum art gallery bathroom. He popped one up. He just wanted to see if he could do it first off and how long it would stay there. And he went and checked it and checked it and checked it. And eventually the glue failed before anyone took it down.
Oh my god.
So he just got
so
ballsier. Good. Yeah, he just decided to do it in the main part of the gallery. So he literally just would waltz in, screw these paintings into place, these curated exhibits, not dressed in anything that looks like a staff member. He was literally the campiest Scooby-Doo looking villain guy, and nobody really cared. He was fine. So in an interview that he has done, because he has produced quite a bit of stuff sort of talking about what he does, what he likes, why he does the art that he does. He has a few books that he's produced. He is still anonymous, but he has said in this interview that he studied Harry Houdini to get an idea of how to sneak in to do his anti-heists.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. So one of his quotes is like, I thought some of the paintings were quite good. That's why I thought, put them in a gallery. Otherwise, they'll just sit at home and no one's ever going to see them.
Ain't fair.
Which is how we should all treat our creative creations, just show them off to people. What are they doing on your computer? What are they doing in your notebooks or in your bedroom? Take them out, put them on Instagram, give them away to people, give them as gifts, sell them somewhere. You can do this.
Hey, if he can, fucking you can.
Exactly.
Just put your book in the library. No one's gonna know.
Do it. No one's gonna know. How they
gonna know? Oh, that hell up.
I love it. So Banksy went on to repeat the stunt in France, and one of the really famous ones that he did was hanging his own version of the Mona Lisa in the Louvre. He replaced her serene expression with a acid yellow smiley face.
Oh my god!
It's beautiful. It's called Mona Lisa Smile.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's so good. That's wonderful. So, who is this strange artist, this unusual man? So you may have seen the stencil of the girl with the heart balloon. It's always been on MySpace and Facebook. Like, MySpace was massive for it, but Facebook still pops up every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
The Molotov bouquet, which is the rebel hauling a bouquet of flowers rather than a Molotov cocktail. But if you haven't heard of him already and you don't know what this is, strap in, prepare. He pretty much is believed to have come from Bristol, which is a riverside or seaside town in England. He's been described as a nondescript white guy in his late 20s / early 30s. Apart from that, that's it. That's all we have.
Just a dude.
He's just
a dude, guy.
Exactly. Some people think that it's a large group of people because he's quite prolific and he has done a lot of stuff, a lot of places. But we don't know, honestly. He's managed to keep his anonymity pretty under wraps, surprisingly. So he started with the pseudonym Robin Banks, and then later shortened it to Banksy. In the late 90s, he was developing his signature street art style. So it was pretty much just like graffiti throw-ups. And all that is literally, you get your can of spray paint, you go to a wall somewhere you're not meant to be throwing up your paint, and you spray paint as quickly as you can. he does it with a political twist. So in an article by the Smithsonian, he says that there was an incident when he was 18 that helped him discover the utility of the stencil, which is his signature style. So basically, all his art is a stencil. It's just literally slapped on the wall, spray paint over the top, rip it off, run. And when he was basically trying to spray paint a train and police showed up, he said, the rest of my mates made it to the car and disappeared, so I spent over an hour hidden under a dumpster truck with engine oil leaking all over me. As I lay there listening to the cops on the tracks, I realized I had to cut my painting time in half or give it up altogether. I was staring straight up at the stencil plate on the bottom of the fuel tank when I realized I should just copy that style and make each letter 3 feet high. This is really cute. The book that I have of this, which is War and Peace, one of them anyway, he has this little extra bit of the quote on the end that's totally unrelated, but I thought it was adorable. He said, I got home at last and crawled into bed next to my girlfriend. I told her I'd had an epiphany that night, and she told me to stop taking that drug because it's bad for your heart. Just so sweet. It made me think of so many just sweet English girls, no, love you, bless.
There. It's fine.
So yeah, he's been all over the world. Like, he has spray painted on the Palestinian wall. He has put his art all over the place. He's been in Melbourne. There was a huge hubbub because one of the pieces that he did here, an original, got destroyed. And the homeowners association of the building that it was on were like, you have drastically changed the value of our buildings by taking this away. We want to be compensated for it. And it was like a huge legal battle.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Money, which goes 100% against what Banksy was all about in the first place. So one of the things that he talks about with his art is the reason he likes art, like graffiti, so much is because it's not for profit. It's something that was never intended to make money. It's always been like a counterculture kind of thing. And there's a lot of stuff that's sort of intertwined with it. If you ever look up ignorant tattoo, that's a similar sort of thing. It's like street art and prison tattoos, Russian criminal tattoos. And it's literally just all about like not being a part of society, moving against capitalism and sort of denying that everything needs to have a purpose and make money and be profitable. So his notoriety and his anonymity have sort of been part of that. But as a result of this really great art popping up all over the world, it means that he's become really famous and his art has begun to fetch a massive price, which on average goes between $500K and $1 million USD. The most expensive of which.
So much money.
So much money. Outrageous amounts of money. Especially because he's just some, dude that was a teenager in a tiny English town at one point in the 90s, just literally spray painting on walls, which is fantastic. His most expensive work, which is a drawing of a boy playing with a Red Cross nurse doll, sold for around, there's an exact amount here, excuse me. $23,176,314.
Fuck.
Right? It's insane. So the piece appeared on the wall of a university hospital in Southampton on May 2020 with a note that says, "Thanks for all you're doing. I hope this brightens the place up a bit, even if it's only black and white." So that's just wonderful.
Aww.
That's really sweet. It was a tribute to healthcare workers during the COVID pandemic. A copy hangs in the hospital now. The original was auctioned off in March of this year, 2021. Proceeds from the sale will be donated to support healthcare workers across the UK. So, there's still, even with all this money and fame, like a level of care and giving back, which is really cool to see.
A little hoodlum Robin Hood.
Exactly, which goes back to Robin Banks, doesn't it?
Robin Banks!
Robin Banks! Yeah, so along with his traditional art, he also has a performance artist side to his work. He's installed lots of shit. Like, he has broken into zoos and there's one zoo that he went to in I forget exactly which country it is, but he basically went in trying to spray paint on one of the, I think it was the penguin enclosures wall. He wanted to spray paint something about letting them out in Spanish, because that's the language of the country he was in at the time. I forget which one. And he couldn't remember the phrase that he'd been taught in Spanish, and he'd lost a piece of paper trying to like scale the wall to get into the zoo. So he just decided to literally spray paint all over the exhibit the like markers for counting down the days, like a prison sentence.
Oh.
You know, like people would do on the walls of prisons. So he just did like hundreds of them, like 4 spray paint cans worth over the like walls of the penguin exhibit. It's insane, like the stuff that he's done. He's gone and he's spray painted on the side of boats and things like that in the English Channel. Done some crazy shit. It's really cool. I would highly recommend if you have any interest in like art or street art or like just anti-authority kind of displays, like Banksy's old work is very cool, very interesting. He also has produced a documentary, interactive exhibits featuring live animals, and a whole ass theme park, Dismal Land. So he has a strong focus on climate change protests, violence, and injustice. There are even instances of Banksy selling his art on the street direct, small stands where it's just him sitting there, millions of dollars worth of his art for sale for like £20, like nothing. It's such a cheap price. So keep an eye out. Maybe one day you'll see Banksy selling his own shit and you can buy it for just a fraction of the price.
That would be great.
That would be amazing.
That would be pretty cool.
So now that you know a little bit about him, we move on to the final portion, the theft. So we've talked about his anti-art heists, where he installed art where it wasn't meant to be. Now we're going to talk about how in 2018, the original print version of Girl with Balloon, the very famous one, sold at an auction for $1.4 million. As soon as the sale finalised, just as soon as the auction finished, an alarm sounded in the gallery and the artwork began to feed through a shredder hidden in the bottom of the frame.
Oh my god, I remember this.
Yeah.
It was so
it's fucked.
good.
The video is just everyone looking at it in fucking disbelief.
It's just horror.
It's fucked.
It's just insane. Literally in less than a minute, $1.4 million worth of art just shredded into pieces.
Oh my god.
So the gallery, Sotheby, completely denied any knowledge of the incident to prior then. There is evidence that they may not be the case, though. So it's important to note that the piece was the last to be sold, and it was the only item physically mounted on the wall rather than displayed freestanding. Which, why? Unless they had an idea of what was going to happen. But it's only speculation, allegedly. So it is unknown what the anonymous buyer thinks of the whole ordeal, but the shred's uniform enough that it can be displayed again. So it's you know, the story's there now. It's worth more than 1.4 million.
Exactly.
Later in 2018, early June, another piece by Banksy was physically stolen from an exhibition in Toronto, Canada. The exhibit wasn't affiliated with Banksy, but it was a curated collection of his art from ex-agent Steve, I'm going to mess this up, Lazaridis.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Lazaridis told CBC Toronto, he's a control freak. He likes things done his way. He'd probably hate it, to be honest. It's speculated online that the culprit may have actually been Banksy himself. It does sound like some shit that he would fucking do.
Oh, yeah.
And when the gallery released footage from the security tapes, it was a nondescript white guy, late 20s / early 30s, in a hat and a hoodie. Creeps into the exhibit like a Scooby-Doo villain that we know so well, takes the piece under his arm, no qualms, and creeps back out again.
Oh my god.
Charges have never been pressed and the culprit has never been identified.
Oh my god, the BM of it all.
I know. Oh man, it's
God,
ridiculous. I love it.
It's totally him. It's totally him.
I mean, like, this is the point, is he's achieved so much and he's probably got quite wealthy off of it all. I can't imagine he isn't. You just start doing shit for fun, especially if you already have that anti-authority idea, and you're just basically have unwittingly or possibly wittingly, I don't know the dude, shoehorned yourself into a position that you kind of didn't like in the first place, because he used to talk a lot of shit about artists that get put up in galleries and how that fraction of the art is only by a very small amount of people. Like, art is everywhere all the time. Just because it's on your fridge and your kid did it instead of, someone that is well renowned doesn't make it any less art.
100%.
Yeah. But I thought it would be cool to finish off with some advice from Banksy on painting with stencils.
Ooh.
Because stencils are fun. Stencils are really cool. I used to do a lot of them back in high school. So it's always easier to get forgiveness than permission, which is true. But don't always apply that to everything. Mindless vandalism can take a bit of thought. Nothing in the world is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Leave the house before you find something worth staying in for. Think outside the box, collapse a box, and then take a sharp knife to it. A regular 400ml can of paint will give you up to 50 A4 size stencils. This means you can become incredibly famous / unpopular in a small town virtually overnight for approximately £10, which is about $20 here, which is, pretty on point. Try to avoid painting in places where they still point at aeroplanes.
Ooh.
Spray paint directly onto the stencil from a distance of 8 inches. When explaining yourself to the police, it's worth being as reasonable as possible. Graffiti writers are not real villains. Real villains consider the art of breaking into some place, not stealing anything, and then leaving behind a painting of your name in 4-foot-high letters the most ridiculous thing they ever heard of. Be aware that going on a major mission totally drunk out of your head will result in some truly spectacular artwork and at least one night in the cells. The easiest way to become invisible is to wear a Dayglow vest and carry a tiny transistor radio playing Heart FM extremely loudly. If questioned about the legitimacy of your painting, simply complain about the hourly rate. And 2 more. So, crime against property is not real crime. People look at an oil painting and admire the use of brushstrokes to convey meaning. People look at a graffiti painting and admire the use of a drain pipe to gain access. Which is true. You look at some shit that's on roofs and you're like, how the fuck did you do that, my dude?
How the fuck did they get up there?
Don't know.
100%.
I don't know. I love watching dudes dangle off the edge of like buildings trying to spray paint. I'm like, I don't want to watch, but also this is ridiculous. I do not have the upper body strength to do that shit. And last but not least, the time of getting fame for your name on its own is over. Artwork that is only about wanting to be famous will never make you famous. Fame is a byproduct of doing something else. You don't go to a restaurant and order a meal because you want to have a shit.
Oh, I've been schooled twice today.
I know.
This is great.
It's a time. But yeah, I really think Banksy is quite funny. It was one of the artists that I really enjoyed when I was a little kiddie growing up, and it got me and my mum really close to each other, and I always love the idea of putting something where people don't want it rather than taking something. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
So that's Banksy.
Fuck yeah, Banksy. Fuck yeah, Mum. Fuck yeah, Heists. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mate, thank you again for the wonderful suggestion of the topic. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you, listener, who we have not found the message for. We're very sorry. But we really appreciated this one because this is outside the box for us, and I didn't really know anything about any of the ones that we talked about today. I obviously knew about my one already, but I still learned stuff.
Oh yeah. I love just not knowing shit and then knowing it. Learning's fucking ace, isn't it?
That's really good.
Learning's good.
It's so good. Learning is what?
Fundamental. Well, we've come to the end of another episode. Thank you for all of those listening. Yeah. If you've got a segment idea and you want to fly it our way, please do. We'll make sure to remember your name. You can find us on all our socials, WyrdSistersPodcast.com. Leave us a cheeky like, leave us a cheeky follow, leave us a cheeky review. Tell us if you like the show. Please don't tell us if you don't. We don't want to hear it. And with that, I think we're done. I think we're good.
Yeah,
we are.
I think I'm good.
Mate.
I'm done. I'm ready.
Catch you next time, listeners. Bye.
Bye.
See you.